Welcome to another episode of Dana Does, and in this episode, I open a lot of things. So some of these puzzles I have seen before, but actually quite a few of these I haven't seen before, so this is going to be very exciting. This is the Rubik's slide. It looks like a regular Rubik's Cube, but the sides don't turn like a traditional Rubik's Cube. Instead, these cubies slide around like so. This is what the solved puzzle looks like. Here's a close-up of the Rubik's logo and all the sides. And the goal of the puzzle, like a regular Rubik's Cube, is to get all the faces the same color. So we have orange, white, green, yellow, red, and blue. But instead of turning the faces, you're going to be sliding the cubies around. And as you can see, it very, very quickly can get jumbled up. And for sake of time, I'm not going to solve it in this video, but I will say this puzzle is very challenging, quite fun, and definitely a super new take on what the Rubik's Cube is. Again, this is the Rubik's slide. Next is the Rubik's pyramid. I have seen this one before, and surprisingly, I found it quite challenging. There's one case at the end that takes me forever to try and remember how to do. It's rated as a yellow challenge level, which is somewhere in the middle, but personally, I thought it was quite difficult. This is the Rubik's pyramid. As the name suggests, it is a tetrahedron, aka it has 4 sides. The first time I saw this puzzle, I thought it was supposed to turn like this, where the corners would turn. But instead, it turns on these slices, like so. And one cool thing about this puzzle is that it can shapeshift. Most puzzles don't do this, so this is a very cool feature. Feature/challenge, I would say. The solving process is technically the same as a 2x2, if you can picture this being a 2x2x2, sort of like this being the right layer, up, and so on and so forth. But when I get to parity, it always takes me a while to figure out. Here's a close-up on the Rubik's logo. In this case, it's on the yellow side. And again, this is the Rubik's pyramid. Next up in my haul is one that I've seen a smaller version of, but I don't believe I've seen this version. This one is quite a bit larger. My hands are pretty small, so it basically takes up my entire palm. And this is the Rubik's twist. And the challenge level is slightly in light green, so easier to medium. So let's get into it. So this is the Rubik's twist, and as you can see, the triangular parts are gray and the other sort of edge pieces are colorful. So if I pull this apart, this is the twist part of the puzzle. As you can see, each individual piece is twisting, and it can twist in all directions. So I'm going to make this a flat line to show you how long it can get. So you can see here, the triangles alternate between black and gray, and then everything else is very multicolored. It's quite long, as you can see with the 2 puzzles in the back. Technically, this puzzle doesn't have a solve state. It's more of a building block that you can use to make whatever your creative heart desires. So one thing you can do is make it into the ball shape that was earlier, and we'll take a look at the Rubik's logos on either end. So we have the gray side and the black side. This is my version of a bed using the Rubik's twist. You can make all sorts of shapes, and here I'm just going to put it back into the ball. And I suppose that's one challenge you could do for yourself. You can make the ball with black on these pieces or with gray on them. And here we have the Rubik's twist. The remaining puzzles in this haul I have actually not seen before, so I'm going to go in order of increasing difficulty. Firstly, we have the Rubik's edge, so aptly named because it sort of looks like an edge of something. And this one is quite small, as you'll notice, so it'll fit in your pocket. It's got a low-ish challenge level, and let's check it out. So let's take a closer look at the Rubik's edge. We've got the Rubik's logo on one side, a standard color scheme, and let's just get some turns in on this. Oh wow, that's actually really smooth. And you'll notice these sides have stickers, and you may be wondering why that is. It's because if you notice the center pieces, it's shaped strangely. So what that allows us to do is, let me see if I can get a close-up on this, is to shapeshift. This is the second shapeshifting puzzle we've seen in this video, although I guess technically the twist shapeshifts as well, so second or third depending on how you define it. Because of those stickers, the inside stickers, you can get an interesting case like this, which seems impossible until you notice that you can just do that. So I'm gonna scramble up this puzzle since it's on a lower difficulty, not necessarily easy, just lower, and try and solve it. Here is also another version of a table. Okay, let's get into it. I'm trying to get I don't actually really know what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna try and solve it. This is the equivalent of a cross, I guess. So now I have, oh, okay, this is kind of funny. It's actually very, very fun. Ta-da! And that is a solve on the Rubik's Edge. This puzzle is very fascinating, not quite as difficult as a regular Rubik's Cube, I would say, but still challenging in its own right. And it's very small, could probably fit into my pocket, and it's a very cute puzzle. So again, this is the Rubik's Edge. 4 down, 2 to go. Next, we have the Rubik's Tower Tour. Try saying that 10 times fast. This is a medium-ish difficulty, so we'll see. It looks very interesting. I have not tried one of these before, so I'm very curious to try it out. Let's get into it. First glance at the Rubik's Tower Tour, and I noticed the color scheme is different than most standard Rubik's Cubes. From here, it looks normal, but on most cubes, you have yellow across from white and blue across from green, so that's very interesting. This cube is quite tall, I would say. Here's a comparison to the Rubik's Edge, and here's a look at the Rubik's logo. So let's get into turning it. So the layers turn like this. Here it looks like two 2x2s stacked on top of each other. Very interesting. And here, and as you would expect, the long sides turn as well. So this is the checker pattern, I suppose, on the Rubik's Tower Tour. Looks very cool. This puzzle also shapeshifts, so a lot of shapeshifters today. Wow, it gets into some crazy shapes super fast. As of current, I don't know how to solve this puzzle, so for me, it is going to be quite a high challenge difficulty level. So I'm gonna give it a quick scramble and give it my best attempt at solving it, but no guarantees. So I'm gonna do some of these standard turns first before I start making it change into crazy shapes. This already looks messed up as is, and I wouldn't know how to solve it, but now let's start getting crazy. My goodness. So I have what makes it look like you took a whole row and just stuck it onto the side. Going to be honest, I have no idea where to start. So let's try just random moves, I guess. I feel like the first step is to get it back into a cube shape, but I don't know how to get these two pieces to go up there. Now I'm just messing it up more, I feel like. So now I'm able to get it back into this tower rectangle shape. And now I have no idea what to do. I've solved the end faces, but I'm fairly certain that's not how you're supposed to do it. Okay, what if I just try to solve it layer by layer? Okay, so I have this layer. I'm trying to figure out how to get this piece here without messing up this piece. I wonder if the move maybe then is to solve the middle first. Spitballing ideas out here. This, got like a layer here. Like this. This looks closer, but now what? All right, this is the closest I think I'm going to get. How do I switch these two pieces? Wah! After playing around with it for what I might say is a very long time, I finally solved the Rubik's Tower Tour. It requires an interesting way to think about it. To be honest, the last part, I just kind of played around with it until I got it. I probably need to figure out how to do that more systematically. But this is the Rubik's Tower Tour. Now onto the 6th and final puzzle is the Rubik's Blocks. This one has the highest difficulty of the new puzzles that I've seen. I guess the theme of this video is shape-shifting, so almost all of these puzzles shape-shift, which is very, very interesting. So this is the Rubik's Blocks. Looks very cool. As you can see, every layer is a different size. So let's see how it turns. Ooh. So as you'll notice, it looks basically like a regular Rubik's 3x3. There are 3 layers by 3 layers by 3 layers, and we have the same 6 colors. However, as you'll notice, this layer is much thicker than this layer, which means that when you turn it, it basically immediately shape shifts, like almost all of those puzzles back there. One interesting thing about the layers being a different size is that technically, without seeing the scramble, you could solve this cube blindfolded by feeling around for the size of each layer. You can also solve it using the colors, so that sort of adds two different ways you can do it. I'm going to mess it up and solve it by looking just so I can make sure it stays in frame. After this video, I'll probably try and do it without even looking at it, and that'll be a very interesting challenge because you'll just be sort of touching all the pieces, trying to figure out how tall different pieces are. Alright, so now we have what looks like a veritably jumbled mess, very not cubic. As I said before, this puzzle does shapeshift, so this looks very cool. Alright, I'm going to get to solving it. You can see layers starting to form here. One turn away. That was quite fun. This cube looks so fascinating as you're scrambling and even solving it. That was puzzle 6 of 6 in this Dana Does haul. And again, here we have all 6 puzzles. We have the Rubik's Blocks, the Rubik's Tower Tour, the Rubik's Edge, the Rubik's Twist, the Rubik's Pyramid, and the Rubik's Slide. You can find all of these puzzles and more at Rubiks.com, and they'll be linked in the description of this video. Thanks again for watching the episode of Dana Does.